Hey guys, this week on the AwesomeCast, we talk about Windows Phone 8, Facebook. Are they really screwing you? Why do they keep changing crap? And a little bit about iOS 6 and how awesome is it going to be? And will it save podcasting, or really is it just kind of going wherever it's going anyways? This week, AwesomeCast.
I'm getting awesome, you're getting awesome, we're getting awesome, yeah, that's what I said now. I'm getting awesome, you're getting awesome, we're getting awesome, yeah, that's what I said.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to AwesomeCast 107 from right here in Pittsburgh, PA in the studios. I'm Mike Sorg, with you as usual. Over on the couch, there he is. It's Chachi of InsertCoinToBegin.com.
Hi guys.
What was that pause? Dramatic pause.
Yep.
Excellent. And with us from his home studio desk is Rob De La Creta. How you doing?
Hi. I'm good. I'm busy. It's a really nice day in Pittsburgh.
It is so bright. You're a pixelated shadow, and I guess this is how we're gonna roll with it then.
Yeah, it's fine. I mean, I'm made of pixels, really. I'm not. There's no atoms here. It's all bytes. Mm-hmm. So
sounds like
we're just gonna roll with it.
Sounds like you're on a phone. That's weird. But we'll go with it. So this is the AwesomeCast, where we like to talk about tech and just geek out and talk about the stuff that's going on in the week and anything we've come across and anything like that. You can find us over at awesomecast.com or drop us an email at contact@awesomecast.com. Of course, we're on Twitter at AwesomeCast. And go check us out. We're on Google+. You can join us in the Hangout if you'd like. And which I'm going to start right now. And we're also on Facebook. I said Twitter as well. So go drop any comments with us. Hashtag AC107 for this episode, of course. And join us live every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern, more or less, for the AwesomeCast. You can join us in the chat room and everything at live.sorgatronmedia.com. So let's get with it. We actually had a little bit of fan interactions I wanted to share with you guys this week. Long-time listener of the show here, as I understand it, Robert Galt on Twitter, was asking here. He heard rumors of Twitter charging. This is just rumors, right? I did clarify with him. This is one of those. I know, Rob. But this is a question that comes up, and I think it needs to be addressed at least to quell people's fears. Right? Am I right?
No.
We should just ignore it?
Literally don't get me started. I'm going to pull that.
Okay.
Oh, get them started. Go.
Well, I mean...
All right.
Get them, Rob!
Nobody's going to charge you for your AOL account. Nobody's going to charge you for your Tumblr.com account. Nobody's going to charge you for your Twitter account. Nobody's going to charge you for your Google account. And if you don't reply to this email from GeoCities in the next 30 days, they're not going to shut down your account.
Exactly.
Are we done?
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, this is just a rumor thing. I mean, this isn't. I don't think this is addressing a retweet this so you don't get charged kind of email, which is a message I think I've seen all the way back on ICQ some 10, 12 years ago. So I mean, this has been going on forever, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's basically like, so it comes as sort of like easy sense to us that the idea that a service that's built on free usage, i.e. most of the internet at this point, is never just going to flip a switch and say, like, screw you guys, pay us money. It doesn't work that way. It works around monetizing the free user, because requiring somebody to give you money to sign up is an exponential barrier, like a huge Berlin Wall of problems that arises. So these services will always be free. I can personally guarantee, without any notable personal connections to the Twitter crew, that you will never, ever, 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 ever have to pay for Twitter, unless they decide to come up with some kind of crazy premium business package or something like that. Then you might have to pay money for that.
Exactly.
But you will never get an email in your inbox that says, you now owe us money if you wish to continue using the service.
And I think that's the biggest thing is the only thing you're maybe ever going to see is to get charged to get rid of ads. I mean, we see this on stuff like Justin TV and Ustream that we broadcast this on. There are probably always going to be free, but if you want to get rid of those annoying ads, you can drop them $10 a month. Or if you're a provider, you drop them, God, I think it starts at $100 a month for us. But same with Facebook, same with Google. I mean, I guess there's certain things with Google that they do charge for if you're a business user. But again,
right, but there's services that like you started using for free, and then they're like, nope, not going to be free anymore. Done deal.
Yeah. The people that do that are ones that are having trouble with the business model, like startups that haven't reached that point and are trying desperately to make money, I think. Like, usually that's the last thing they do before something like that goes under. But no, yeah, I don't think, Twitter, you're going to start seeing ads, and if the ads get bad enough, and you're going to start seeing stuff like, have you seen the hashtag NASCAR thing that's going on?
No.
If you go to twitter.com, and let me see if I can pull it up here for you guys. If you go to twitter.com and just search, where's your search at? Okay, search.twitter. And just type in NASCAR, a funny thing happens here. That was that I've seen on a few shows talking about this week. You get a branded NASCAR page.
Wait, hold on. So if I go to twitter.com.
Yes.
And I spell it right. Hold on, twitter.com. And then whoa. Oh, I guess it wants me to sign in on the internet.
Just go to search.twitter.com if you just want to search.
Okay, search.twitter.com. Search, I haven't used this keyboard in a while.com. That's cool. Search.twitter.com appears not to exist.
That's weird. Well, anyways, you get this.
Anyway,
you get this.
You go to the thing. You just put in the search term NASCAR. Is what you're saying?
Yes, and you get a hashtag NASCAR page, and it's a branded page with a nice backdrop and everything like that. And this is definitely something that's monitored. Like, you're not going to see a NASCAR sucks comes up on this. But if you go to this little link right here, it says view all tweets. That's hidden over there. You would get the actual search results for NASCAR or hashtag NASCAR.
Mm-hmm.
So NASCAR has bought this space for the initial landing page for your search for NASCAR or hashtag NASCAR, and you can sign up to get closer.
Right. And so the real basic thing to understand about this is that since Twitter's launch, since the launch of most startups, the big question is, like, if you read any of the Cory Doctorow stuff or any of that nonsense about, not nonsense because it's bad nonsense because there's a lot of it. If you read any of that stuff about atoms versus bytes and how we make our money these days because you can't reproduce atoms, but you can reproduce bytes indefinitely, it means that 9 times out of 10, when you create a digital product or service, you should be inclined to offer it for next to nothing. And then the question is, well, if I'm going to offer it for next to nothing, how do I make money? And the way that Twitter can say that we will never, ever charge you for this sort of thing is by giving this opportunity to an organization like NASCAR and saying, hey, if you throw us what I'm sure was probably in the 6 digits, then when somebody searches for NASCAR, they're going to get the sweet thing with your logo and pictures all over it, and you get to control what that is.
Exactly.
NASCAR is currently paying for your free Twitter account.
Exactly. So that you're that they can control the message of what NASCAR is on Twitter that you see initially, at least. They at least give you that option to get by, but it's really how many people are going to see that little thing. And then other things Twitter are doing, like if you go to, like, I jumped on the Pepsi page, here's the Coke page, they get a little bit of a redesign. Like, they get this extra banner here. Pepsi had like some kind of promotion in the banner. Like, they're getting like extra features like this, You're starting to see, again, promoted tweets. Actually, there's one right here, right in the middle of the page. That this will pop up in your feed sometimes. I think I've seen some stuff by Starbucks. And you're starting to see the new reformatted tweets, which I think Wall Street Journal is one of them. Does that sound right? I know, like, a few different ones where they can actually kind of format their tweets. I'll see if they've started them yet. They may not have kicked in just yet. Maybe it's New York Times. But so you're going to start seeing, more than the standard 180 or 140 character, one text size thing. You're going to see headlines and sub headlines and stuff like that going out in certain tweets. And I imagine this is something you're going to see on the website, probably in certain clients that'll abide by this in their API. You're starting to see Twitter do something, and they kind of had to, right, Rob?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, every startup is in this weird position where you want to offer this digital service or whatever, and you want to offer it for free because free is a fantastic price. Free is what works. I mean, skating the line of free is what created the most successful music marketplace on the internet and in the world, realistically, which is iTunes, where they said, they figured out the sweet spot in which people are willing to pay 99 cents a track, not $1, but 99 cents. And figuring out that monetary value is super important. So, as with all these services, like Tumblr just released a really fantastic update to their iOS app. And in an interview with David Carr, somebody said, are you guys going to start charging for this? He said, oh, we're never going to charge for it. But eventually we have plans to institute ads into the application. And it's just ads are what makes it work. So we have been for a while, like this isn't news or anything, but we've created this sort of pseudo marketplace for everything digital in which the existence of everything digital is supported by the existence of everything else digital, in that you're currently using product A and somebody else wants to remind you that product B exists and they're willing to pay for that.
Mm-hmm. It's an advertising platform in the long run. So there you go. We had another one that was tweeted to us today. We're starting to put a call out, because I mean, Rob, you and I, we're busy. We have our outlets that we're seeing news on through the week, and we want to kind of open it up to everybody to see, what's kind of caught their eye, what are they interested in. Miss Bossy Pants actually retweeted us.
Hey, wait a minute. Let's clear that up. Miss Bossy No Pants.
No Pants.
There you go.
Yes, it is.
Yep.
Well, she retweeted from the Daily Intel about a Facebook insider spilling early secrets. Now, this is an article from over on New York Magazine. I'll bring it up here. This is for a book coming out called The Boy Kings, about the early days of Facebook. I guess she was an employee in the early days, of course. I mean, this is kind of, if you depending on how much you believe in like the Facebook movie and what we hear about Zuckerberg, some of this doesn't really surprise me. It's unfortunate, but it doesn't really surprise me. It's talking about Sean Parker being a party animal at the 2007 Coachella Music Festival. Los Losse is her name apparently. And a group of fellow Facebookers rented a house and took in acts like Daft Punk and Rat-a-Tat. One night during the festival, she writes, Sean Parker, Facebook's first president and co-founder of Napster, showed up at the house with her and was later told was a doctor's bag full of drugs, which everyone politely declined. Of course, we saw something like that in the Facebook movie, so it's nothing really new. Just, I guess, first-hand accounts. This is interesting. On Zuckerberg's 22nd birthday, Facebook's employees were given the instructions. Women were supposed to wear a T-shirt with Mark's picture on it, and men were told to wear Adidas sandals in a tribute to Zuckerberg's trademark flip-flops. Others might have seen as instant birthday homage to the boss, but she saw it as idol worship. So, I mean, just weird little things that happen in there. I don't know. It's interesting.
I get the feeling that this isn't, because so we're talking about this, and the people who are going to read this is mostly like the same sort of people who would read the Steve Jobs bio. I know there's like a huge divider in there, but the general, like, I'm interested in reading about the founders of tech sort of people. And you and I listen to this story about this book, and we're both like, this is not surprising. This is
This isn't news.
Is classic story of the programmer is what this is.
Yeah,
because it's just like dudes running a startup. Dudes are going to act like dudes and run a startup in the way they see fit, which may or may not include asking the females at your company, your multi-billion-dollar company, to wear a T-shirt with your picture on it, which I'm also sure was not his idea. It was like somebody else's idea, and it was just a funny thing. But the entire tone of all of the quotes that I see from this author make it seem like she's personally slighted against her experience at Facebook, like it was a big surprise to her.
Definitely.
Like, people actually run a company like this? Really? Come on.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah, and it's not even just tech. It's like, go stop at a truck stop for a minute, man. It's all old dudes. And old dudes behave in a certain way. Not to, like, type genre sexist and all that sort of thing, but they're 20-something guys, and they're running a company, which means they have a certain amount of power under their belt. So they're going to act like it. And that's exactly what happened. I mean, if I had a startup, and I had $1 billion or whatever to my name, and I had a party at Coachella, heck yeah, I'm going to have Daft Punk. Why? Because I can. Because that makes me awesome. Wear my sandals and my t-shirt.
Exactly. When left unchecked like that, you're going to have that.
Yeah. I feel like this whole book is more like, as a very sensitive individual, I was hurt by my experience at Facebook, so I'm going to pretend that this was a big surprise so that people want to read it, when it's really just I was personally surprised by how dude-like these dudes were in running a company that was owned, founded, and continues to be run by dudes.
Yeah, exactly. But something more relevant and recent, Facebook changed everybody's email address this week, or last week, actually.
Surprise!
So if you go to a person's contact page where it would usually have, like, my email address, at gmail.com or whatever, it's now a at facebook.com address, which I guess presumably goes to your messages, right?
Yeah, it goes. I actually had to explain this to somebody.
Okay. Explain it to me, Rob. Explain me what's happening here.
So what happened is Facebook decided, you know what? People are already getting their messages on Facebook. And to be totally fair, we let them know in no less than 3 ways by default that they've received a message. You get a little notification on your thing. You get an email about it by default. And you might get like a push notification to your phone or something like that. So they cover their bases. They make sure that you know in any way, shape, or form that you have received a message. So they say, you know what? We convinced everybody to give themselves a username. So why don't we just set up a little redirect so any email sent to I like the internet at facebook.com goes to this guy's his Facebook message thing, which means that when he goes to correspond with people, he'll be on facebook.com, which means, back to our earlier conversation about free internet services, you do not pay for Facebook currently, and you will never have to pay for Facebook because of those little ad things on the side and all of the data that they collect about how you use the internet, basically. So they decide they're going to flip the switch in the good old-fashioned opt-out idea of Facebook, in which they change options now and ask questions later. And so everybody, if you look at your profile, if you go to here, we can do a little tutorial. I'll go to my Facebook thingy here. So you're going to go to facebook.com.
Here, I'll do it here so we can visually go follow along.
Yeah. So then you're going to click your name in the upper left-hand corner, and you're going to see your own profile, right? So then you're going to hit the About button on your profile. And then under Contact Info, you're going to see like mobile phone, address, screen name, website, and then it's going to say email address. And chances are, if this is news to you, under email, it's going to now say whatever you set up your facebook.com / in my case, ROBJDLC. It now has under email, ROBJDLC at facebook.com. And if somebody were to try to use that, it's going straight to your Facebook inbox.
And mine's going to Mike Sorg at facebook.com.
Right. So real quick, if you want to change this, you want to click the edit button in the top right there. And then it's going to load a little doobly-doo, and you scroll down to, or do you? Oh, it's right up at the top there. So it's going to have your emails, and it still has your own email listed.
Now this is
and then
weird.
You want to pay attention.
Well, this is weird though, because now I go to it and I have who can see that. Your little thing column of who can see this. Friends can see my email address that I put in, but I'm the only one that can see the @Facebook one.
Right, which is also the default that not a lot of people are talking about because it doesn't make a good news story if you only change profiles for you.
So if I go to anybody else's and they haven't touched any of this is actually, I will not see this on anybody else's profile. Everybody's seeing it on their own profile, freaking out, not realizing nobody else can see it.
Right. So this is basically a good way to acquaint yourself with all the privacy features of Facebook because they did change it. And I'm not going to speak for everybody, but it's my experience and your experience. I haven't done any research on the topic, but it seems like what you're saying is exactly true, where they added this email to your email, but there are privacy options for what happens when you look at your profile and when somebody else looks at your profile. And somebody else has subcategories of complete strangers or people in your networks or your friends. So by default, it adds your whatever at facebook.com as something that only you can see, not your friends, not anybody else, just you. What you can do, however, is on the right-hand side, it'll be shown in timeline. I think by default, it does show it in your timeline, but not like in the normal thing, whatever that means. I can't differentiate that. So what I did is the left-hand block is only me, and the right-hand circle is hidden from timeline. That way I can assure that nobody will ever see my facebook.com email address. Not that it really matters, because I get an email containing the email at any given time, but it's slightly annoying.
Exactly. Well, thank you for clearing that up there, Rob. And now I'm getting more acquainted with my... I still have to go and figure out how to get rid of... they released something a couple weeks ago. It was like special friends, that you see every little thing they post. And it's great, except for I don't need to see when Wheels shares the event that I'm already going to 3 times a day. That comes to my phone now.
Yeah, it's a revamp of the subscriptions feature that they rolled out along.
But it's like a close friends subscriptions feature, you know. But they still have subscriptions otherwise that somebody can go subscribe to my thing. Because I know there's a lot of people like I see pop in and they don't really fit in my people I want to see things or see their things. And seriously, if I don't friend you back, just subscribe to my thing. I'm trying to manage how many people I see. And that's becoming a problem, at least for me.
I will say that when they first rolled out the new close friends thing, everybody that I was subscribed to was moved to close friends.
Yeah. Oh, really?
So.
Really? That's interesting. I don't know. It always discourages me. It definitely discourages people when I show them all this stuff and I keep reiterating, look, this will change. They change things without telling you or with little notice, or you'll change it and not know how to go back, you know. And then that's where most people end up going to Twitter or Google Plus if they're investigating all their options. At least for the new people, because I seriously can't imagine being a new person and looking at Facebook, you know, and it making any sense to them.
Right, and it has a lot to do with, so, you know, I use the internet and you use the internet, and we're just kind of used to the idea that, like, you know, we see a news story that says that Facebook did this thing. They didn't tell you about it, but they just did it, and it's invasive to your privacy. And you and I look at it and we're like, nah, all right, got to go figure out how to change that thing. Whereas somebody who did not grow up in this sort of environment or is relatively, like, not as entrenched as in the internet as we are, you try and, like, figure out the real world metaphor for this, which, like, you know your mailman just around your neighborhood and told everybody what your favorite food is, and you just don't know how to handle it. So it's a comfort thing, and so the question to be asked from all this is, will there either be a gigantic privacy backfire, which I'm just going to say will never happen, enough that organizations like Facebook are much more cautious about making this sort of changes, or do we just get used to this sort of dynamic uncertainty of the information that you've given to an organization like Facebook, like where that ends up? Like there are organizations that I've given information to. For instance, I use hover.com for all my domains. I don't expect at any time that Hover will suddenly start to share the private information that they are. You can save your who is information on your domain. So you look at the domain, it tells you the name and address of the person who owns it. They offer for free the ability to hide that. I at no point expect them to turn that off for existing domains that I've registered that have the privacy features turned on.
Because you pay for it.
Right, because for them this is a free feature that you normally have to pay for, but at the same time it's a much more serious thing where it's a service that is literally just buying domains, and it's your business or whatever is attached to it. So it's the whole context of it is a lot more than just sharing kitten pictures on Facebook.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So the idea they give you there is that this is not going to change, and if it does change, what'll happen is you'll get an email about it well ahead of time, and they're not just going to flip it off. They'll give you options because it's a much more professional environment where Facebook is just a complete free-for-all. But again, it's one of those things where you and I are comfortable with this environment, so we can recognize that Facebook is a free-for-all. Hover is not a free-for-all.
Yeah.
Google Wave, big question mark. Anything beta, kind of weird. At the same time, Amazon.com is not ever going to purposely publish all your credit card numbers.
Exactly.
So we have a feeling for this, but most people don't. So it's all welcome to the gray area of privacy on the internet.
And this is another question coming up from Sonic Screwdriver in the chat room. I wonder how much spam will be coming down the pipe to your new email account. That is a good question, because if everybody has, for us, it's usually because Rob JDLC. What is that your shortcut, like Facebook.com/that?
Yeah.
So it's not too hard to figure out everybody's Facebook email address from here.
Yeah, and that's all spidered by Google. So realistically, if you wanted to be a spam maven, you could just look up all the Facebook accounts on Google and use those email addresses.
Yeah, that's kind of scary, and I'm surprised nobody's hit on that yet. There's got to be some. Maybe they have some spam already, spam protectors already in place there. So, so let's touch on Windows Phone 8 is the new one. They had their big phone event. I don't even remember what it's called. What is it? What is their big phone event that they just had? It's some kind of developer conference, right? But they unveiled Windows Phone 8 last week. Some of the big things from it is going to support DirectX. There you go. So it's going to have some similar tools to what you see in Xbox and Windows gaming that everybody uses these days. It's pretty much the standard, right? As far as working with your computer, at least developing. That's how they get. It's pretty much a software layer between your game and the drivers. So it'll be nice that they kind of have parity with that. They have a new home screen, which I don't completely understand yet. A lot of cool stuff, I'm sure, but we're just kind of. I haven't really gotten into entrenched in it, so I don't really know how Windows Phone goes in general now. It looks like you can resize tiles. You can. There's more live tile support with it. So the big kicker of this is if you you've been on the Windows Phone bandwagon maybe already, checked out Windows Phone 7, maybe you picked up that.
That's got to be a small bandwagon.
I'm sure it is, but let's say
it's more like a pickup truck, isn't it?
I'm sure. It's. I'm sure it's small. I know it's small. I mean, we've seen the numbers for cell phone usage. It's a small number, but to be that person and you jumped on that, you picked up your Lumen, you picked up whatever, and you're rocking and say, okay, this is the next big thing, and you've just been told that Windows 8 will no chance in hell, even if you buy the new one between here and when Windows Phone 8, is released, you will not be getting Windows Phone 8. There is absolutely no upgrade path to Windows Phone 8 as a whole. What you do get as an alternative is Windows 7.8, which, while has some of the new tile features, will not have all the features. Like, I believe DirectX isn't a part of this. I don't know, but most of the major features of Windows Phone 8, something developed for Windows Phone 8 specifically, will not, of course, run on this.
You know what this sounds like?
What? Android?
Android.
It's a little clearer than Android, though, isn't it? It's just staying straight. This is the cutoff point. Which
have you ever seen a Windows phone a modern Windows phone in the wild?
No, absolutely not. I don't know. Maybe by the time PodCamp comes around, I haven't been to too many tech events really, where people don't have iPhones and Android, devices, and I really don't.
I see plenty of BlackBerries in the business environment, and I see plenty of Androids in the tech environment. I can firmly say that never once in my conscious tech life have I seen a Windows Phone in use in the wild.
Now, AJ's calling out that he has had one, but he kind of, passes through phones.
He was toying with. He's a special case. I mean, I had one for a minute too because I was reviewing it.
But I mean, just coming across, oh, hey, what are you using? Oh, you got a Windows Phone 8. How's that working for you? I mean,
even like I want to find somebody's mom who walked into the Verizon store and said that Windows Phone looks great.
Mm-hmm. Sonic says his company phone is Windows, so we're getting our cases right out of the chat room now. But still, like when I come across somebody that has a Droid or a Samsung Galaxy or something, I say, hey, how's that working out for you? And discussions ensue, and fanboyism kicks in. But no, I haven't really come across Windows in the wild, but that's a small sector, of people I run
right.
into.
So is it going to get smaller?
I don't know. This definitely doesn't put much faith in it. If you were into Windows Phone and you see how they treated the early adopters,
Yeah, I mean, so like for like death toll watches, Nokia is certainly on the death list. Nokia's on there, surprisingly enough.
Mm-hmm.
BlackBerry, absolutely, hilariously, on the death list.
Rumors of them getting split up this week, which they completely say that. I think I went about them getting split up and sold off. Which BlackBerry apparently responded that that's a fantasy.
That's a fantasy.
I don't know if it's their fantasy or our fantasy.
You know who said that was a fantasy? The 56-year-old dudes who are still sitting on the board of a company that's desperately treading water.
Exactly.
They're like, oh, that'll never happen. Get back in the kitchen.
I mean, but hey, I think they're doing the right thing. They just need to get it in more people's hands, and cheaper phones like the Lumia are the thing. It's just now, who the hell is going to pick up a Windows Phone knowing this? Of course, you're going to have people walking in the store to say, hey, what's this? And they're not even going to think about an upgrade path because they just want to get a smartphone.
Yeah, I mean, you say like, nobody's going to pick this up knowing this. But the thing is, I feel like the people who pick up Windows phones today don't know what they're getting themselves into. That's why they pick up a Windows phone.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I mean, if it's obvious, so like, say you put me in a box and I have the option of Windows or Android, I'm going to go Android, no questions asked. If you have Android or iOS, I'm going to go iOS. If it's iOS or Windows, I'm going to go iOS. If it's, I don't know, Unix or Linux or any bare Unix-based device, I'm still going to head that direction instead of Windows, but that's because I know better.
Exactly.
I just don't under with the tiles and everything. Don't get me started on the Surface, but.
So we had an article in here about new features that have cropped up in iOS 6, but you're actually using the beta, aren't you, Rob?
Yeah, on my iPad and my iPhone, and my developer today and I were actually just comparing how broken our phones were in various states of beta usage. Because apparently iTunes U, if you have iTunes U, if you try to launch anything inside iTunes U, it just closes out of the app.
Which I think they're tearing that out of the... Or is it its own app now?
It's its own app, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, it is its own app. It's not built into it.
So, aside from that, what new features are sticking out there? Aside from you're going to have the brokenness. That's why I decided not to dive into it this early again, like I did last year.
That's the fun part. So things that are cool that I'm appreciating. In Beta 2, just rolled out last night, little touches like, so if you drop your phone, if you pull down your notification center, the little the thingy there, that thing,
mm-hmm.
On your calendar, if you don't have iOS 6 currently, it'll say like, such and such meeting today, or yada, 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 tomorrow. I think it shows tomorrow. Might show tomorrow, I don't know. But it won't tell you any time information about it. Now it does. Useful. Also, down there, I don't know if you can see tap to tweet. Here. That's a new thing. So I can tweet right from there.
Nice. Is Facebook support already in there?
Facebook support it's supposed to be rolled in there in this beta or the next beta, but I haven't personally come across it.
Okay.
It's not like in there in a weird weird way where you're suddenly like, oh god, there's this thing. I also have an iPhone 4, not a 4S, which means that I don't get the fancy maps. Or do I? Ooh, that was funny. Just found a bug for a second. So apparently if you launch maps on the 4, there should be, get it up on the camera here. So right next to the little home marker, right, where's my finger in the camera? Right there, that guy. Next to that should be a 3D button if you have the 4S, which means you can do the cool landscape contour view of the city you're in. Pittsburgh doesn't currently have 3D buildings right now, by the way. CMU, looking at you. It's your fault. And so that's not a thing, but mine came up for a second. But, so you have the turn-by-turn directed doobly-doo. You also have, favorite new feature, I've been asking for this since the beginning. So if I hit the search button, I'm going to show you all the places I've been recently. It now says current location to home. It's there every single time you hit the search button, which means for all those times you've been at a friend's house or anywhere and you just need to get home, it's now 2 taps away.
Now I have mine saved in there, but I think I did that manually.
Right, yeah, this takes care of it, and this also means you don't even have to search for your own contact. It's always at the top of the list. So that's the thing. And then there's Passbook, which I just started to get work today. So Passbook, you have to go to a website to put a thing in, which means there's a part of the system that is missing. You are not supposed to open the Passbook application and enter whatever your plane ticket is or whatever. There's supposed to be a link. So right now the secret is you go to, what is it? It's passsomething.com. I don't know what it is. You can Google it, I'm sure. And then it has all the fields that would build the ticket. So it has all the little CSS widgets that will build something that looks like that. But even though, so if you have the iOS 6 beta, you open Passbook, there's nothing there. There's it says you can put plane tickets in here and stuff like that. But you can't actually enter anything. You have to do it through the website. So now I have this plane ticket thing, and I can swipe down and bring up the other thing I have in there, which is a fake coupon. These are all things I built in that. It's like passsource.com or something.
Oh, cool. So
and that's it.
So you're actually able to develop something. Is this something that can work with your trade show stuff, maybe?
Yeah, it certainly could. I mean, you can totally...
Because it's just
can build...
It's making QR codes.
Barcode is the native barcode, at least, is a PDF 417. I don't know if they have options for what kind of barcode you can use. But a 417 is a 2D barcode. You can stuff plenty of data in there. So it's certainly something that you could use as a trade show badge collection type thingy. But you can format it like basically the Skyport Airways thing, which is a fake ticket. All of that was built in CSS. So like the plane, all that stuff. It's all built in there. And there's fields to fill in like all of your colors and everything. So it's completely customizable. So I'm really curious if this is something where vendors are going to have to work with them to build this into their newsletters, if this is a link you're going to receive, or it's it is passsource.com, by the way. There's definitely something that we have not been told about Passbook, about how it's going to function and how it's actually going to work. And it's basically things like, Southwest Airlines has an application where you can load your tickets into it. And this would bypass that functionality. Right. So instead of using their application, you would use this instead, which is, as we talked about much earlier, no good because now Southwest is not serving their own ads, which means they're not making more money when you go to their thing. It means it's all at the whim of Apple and iOS and all that good stuff.
So this feels like another Apple play to take over more industries.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So and will everybody play ball, especially in green stuff like airlines?
Yeah. Also, one of my favorite new features, if you call me, hey, do you have your phone here? Do you want me
I got it right here. I'll give you a call. Hold on.
Call. I mean, if you watch the keynote about it or whatever, you know what this is, but it's definitely one of my favorite features.
All right, calling.
Waiting.
Making a connection.
Waiting.
Did you change your number?
No. Should be the 408-4308 thing. Okay. All right. So he's calling me here.
Oh.
And there's a little. Did you just hang up?
Yeah, I did. I thought it wasn't going through.
We're so bad at computers.
I got 3 bars down here. I'm good.
It's the most interesting part of the whole show. All right, call me back.
Exactly. I'm calling you back. I am in the process of calling you back.
Okay, here, there's a little phone doodly.
Okay, and there's your slide to answering the phone, and this is the answer, decline, reply with message, remind me later. That's the cool part.
Reply with later, with message, and then I have all these options.
Okay.
So I'll pick one of these. I'll pick what's up.
And I went to voicemail.
He's got voicemail, but I've already sent him a text message. It says, "Can't talk right now. What's up?"
Yep, and I got the text right here on the phone.
So for all those, I mean, it's one of those things where when you have to do it, it takes like 15 button presses to make that happen.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah,
my wife is going to get so many of these.
Mm-hmm. And there's like 200 new features in iOS 6.
And I like that, like, you can have it set to remind you later, like, and actually, like, if you set it, they said it sets up a geofence. So if it's like, remind me when I leave, like I'm in a meeting, say, okay, as soon as I leave, I'll take care of that. It will actually remind you when you walk out of the geofence is set up, like, leaving the building, leaving the general area. That's tremendous. That's your phone working for you, and it's built in.
That's another thing about Passbook that I don't know if they mentioned, but it does include geofences. So, for instance, I have this fake coupon for Paw Planet in here. Mm-hmm. That includes a latitude and longitude, and if I get in proximity with that, my phone will remind me that I have a coupon for Paw Planet.
Nice.
Useful stuff. And there's a bunch of other random stuff in there, but those are...
Are there other apps that do that already, like with coupons, though?
I don't know. They all suck, though.
Yeah, because you have to have location on, which is taking up battery, because it's an application. It's not built in like Passbook is, I would imagine. So
yeah,
that's.
Hey, new keypad interface if you're into that stuff.
What's that?
That's new.
Ooh. Yeah. There you go. I also want to touch base on the new app. Just came out today, I believe. If you're, it's a bitch to search for the new podcast app by Apple. Their big revamp of it here. I'll pull it up here. And I don't know how much you're going to be able to see. I'm actually not able to connect to iTunes. But you can't search for it because there's all the other podcast apps in there. But if you go to the front page, it is the featured app right now. So it's really easy to get to on your iPad and iPhone. Excuse me.
Is it in top charts or whatever?
It should be just on the front page, like in the front featured page.
On the internet, you're saying?
If you go to the App Store.
Oh, actually, if you're on your phone, you go to top charts, you hit top free. It's number 6.
Well, if you go to featured, it's right now the top one on featured, in top charts. Okay, and I'm sure it'll crop up as more people get it because this thing's going to be pushed big time. Right now, I can't actually connect to the store for me, but I was checking it out earlier, and actually I can on the iPad. I'll show that off a little bit. But it's nice because if you are already using like the music thing to see some podcasts, and then sometimes I'll grab some off of there that aren't in something like Stitcher. And now it's not connected; it's not giving me the album art, but it did earlier. Like it already pulled an episode of Cocktail Napkin that I pulled onto my phone. I wanted to see, probably like the PodCamp one from last year. So, and it does background syncing, I believe. It's this interesting radio look to it though. It's like on the iPad one, like this is their look for I guess it's your top stations, and it's not they're having problems with the store, so it's not loading everything, but it's like a radio dial as you go through. There's Oprah. And if you go across the top, there's like the different, like we're going arts, business, comedy, and there's different subsettings. Like I'm in business right now. It goes careers, investing, management, and marketing. And it's going to pop over to comedy, and then you just go up the chart from there. I see Adam Carolla, Kevin Smith, it looks like, Joe Rogan. So it's an interesting look to it. I don't know. You think this is going to be something that's going to revitalize podcasting a little bit, that where it's gone off on its own with guys like Stitcher, guys like all the podcatchers out there that try to make up for this.
I think it's going to do diddly squat
because it's not built in.
Yeah, because it's not built in. It's like, they built in the bookstore originally. Remember that was a big deal. They're like, oh,
originally?
books. I mean, this is so I just
'Cause
loaded the
I thought you always
application.
had
I
to
see that
download
it's
it.
currently loading all of the podcasts that I already have on my phone, which is useful because I'm tired of hitting the music button and then all the other buttons.
Mm-hmm.
And if I hit back to work, it shows me all the things, and that's cool. Still no new Roderick, which is a heartbreak. So I mean, that's neat, but I don't know. It's not built in, which means nobody's ever going to care about it. And it's not like, so Facebook doesn't have to worry about not being a built-in application because they have 1 billion users or whatever. But when you're talking about a sideline application that reproduces the functionality that the iOS, that the operating system of the device already does, this just does it a little better. Nobody's going to sign up for that.
Yeah. And I'm surprised. I just went into the iTunes store to try searching for Back to Work just to see how podcasts look up, and there's nothing that really pops up to say, hey, we have a podcasting app now. That's what needs to happen.
Right, exactly.
There was
they need to push it in there, but where they stand is that you're still going to get your mail, but there's this option to get your mail from a guy in a slightly nicer hat. Why do I care?
Yeah. So but it's nice to see that they haven't completely forgotten about podcasts at this point.
No, I mean, I think they understand certainly most news organizations push towards releasing podcasts. I mean, NPR has been at the forefront of this, but a lot more local stations and smaller organizations are starting to understand that FM radio really is a thing that only exists in cars. And especially when you're in the urban environment, cars are not necessarily the best way to get a hold of people. So putting out podcasts and things like that becomes more than useful. You have better control of your content. You don't have to give to the likes of Clear Channel Media and that kind of stuff. You can do what you want to do, what's best for your business, for your publication, and it makes more sense. So I don't think podcasting is in any way hurting for popularity or a number of listeners or anything like that. It's mostly just there's a lot more options than people used to have. So instead of there being 1 jar of peanut butter on the shelf, now there's 50 jars of peanut butter on the shelf. People are still buying peanut butter. They just might not be buying yours because there's so many options.
And there's so many better brands of it because now, like we've mentioned, we're competing with bigger names, guys like, Joe Rogan and Kevin Smith. They're now in the same medium we are, and we've had this discussion in the past, but now it's at least nice with that, and hopefully we'll see a little bit of that flow, as people drill down looking for something actually new and different. So I it's new. It's good. I think it helps reinvigorate at least a little bit and say, because everybody's kind of sitting around looking around saying, what are we going to do without iTunes, since that's where most people are getting their podcasts. I think exponentially, of course, stuff like Stitcher, iCatcher was mentioned, Downcast in the chat rooms. I mean, those are little pieces of the pies, I think, and they're getting bigger every day. As the podcasting side was neglected in iTunes. But still, at least there's some attention to this. It'll make it easier for people. So they don't have to freaking sync their phone anymore. It's ridiculous. So looking forward to see how it goes, at least. So, all right, what else we got here? What time is it? We can get one more in real quick. See what we got. Let's talk about Louis C.K. Have you seen what's going on with him lately?
Mm-mm.
Remember he had his DRM free, sold his last comedy special, self-financed it, put it out on his own site, no distributors, anything like that. Now he's taking on tickets. Because, anytime we go to Ticketmaster or something, it feels like we've been, given a new arsehole.
Because saying it with the British way makes it much cleaner.
I've been watching a lot of Doctor Who lately. I'm sorry. So he cuts out the middleman by directly selling tour tickets online. Basically, he's selling the tickets online directly to the fans. No middleman. All tickets will sell for the actual face price of $45 without any taxes or additional fees. What she says is cheaper than anyone's paid to see him in 2 years, and half the cost of most tickets from last year, he explains. And he goes on to say about how, his tickets would get out there. There's the fees on top of it. Guys go and, buy them and eBay them or scalp them, and that's bumped up all the prices. They're actually putting limitations in there to make sure people don't buy multiple tickets with no intent of ever actually seeing him and just making a dime off of it. I think this is a pretty good run. Because something needs to happen with ticketing. Anytime you see something like, we had Live Nation for a little bit that seemed like a competitor to Ticketmaster and actually doing some interesting things, even though they're freaking Clear Channel, and they got bought by Ticketmaster, so it doesn't even matter anymore. Only problem is the tour is going to run. Well, it's going to run October to February, and he says it's going to be in some new venues, as in ones that will actually take the non-Ticketmaster ticketing systems. So, so what do you think? This is outside the box. Hopefully, it shakes up the ticketing systems a bit. No, they're too big.
Yeah,
Josh, you think they're too big?
It won't. If anything, the show times, or the show time period and dates and venues prove that this isn't going to shake anything up.
Because it is different places.
Obviously, he had a hard time finding places that would agree to this because of the deals with Ticketmaster. So
they've already locked everything in.
It's not going to make a difference.
But what if more people like this start going to these other venues until it's not an option? Like, say, this guy and Kevin Smith and other people that people want to see. Why not?
The people that would have to do this in order for it to matter can't go to places like they're going. They're too small.
Okay.
So it wouldn't, no. Because
the question is, so a venue like Stage AE, for instance, this is a new venue that is not owned by the same sort of people who own the much larger venues and operate like a more typical venue. So you look at like our local large arena is the Consol Energy Center, and I know that the way they operate is much more like a traditional arena in that they pass it off to anybody else. And they say, like, deal with Ticketmaster? Yeah, deal with Ticketmaster. Why? Because Ticketmaster does sports tickets. So then we're going to sign this contract for Ticketmaster that says that we're going to support all events for Ticketmaster. But
that might actually
other companies have the opportunity to say, we're not going to sign that contract, or we're going to go for a shorter contract, or we're going to entertain the idea of supporting more things, even if it's not like what Louis C.K. is doing, but it's more along the lines of, we're not going to sign a blood contract with Ticketmaster in favor of signing smaller contracts with organizations like ShowClicks and taking a slight hit by making a shorter contract with Ticketmaster. So I'd say the ebb and flow already exists. Chachi, you're totally right that this is not something like Louis C.K. himself is not going to change anything.
No.
But the idea that just like when Louis C.K. did the show online and he asked for like $5 for each person who downloaded or whatever, and he made millions of dollars that he donated to charity. When that whole thing happened, I guarantee that, thousands of not just like band managers, but performers and people who are used to this very traditional system that they've been entrenched in for the last 5 decades stopped for a minute and said, well, hang on, maybe I should change what I'm doing.
And some of them did actually, because I was following through on this story and I saw some guys like Jim Gaffigan, and they named a couple other kind of bigger names you see a lot over on Comedy Central, with specials. Also do the online distribution thing like Louis C.K. did. They use it as a model. And as you see, like, maybe these are friends in that circle or anything, but as that gets bigger, maybe eventually they'll spread to something like the Blue Collar Tour, you never know. That's
such a weird thing to use as an example.
I don't know. That's the biggest thing going right now, right? That I can think of.
It's not even on anymore.
No, but I'm just saying, even like something bigger like that. If it grows and maybe people in that circle get it because these people over here are, and they're seeing they don't have to deal with the middleman, just like Kevin Smith said, screw the middleman in his productions. And that's, kind of getting out and spreading a little bit. You got, him, you got Chris Hardwick, you got these other guys, Joe Rogan, Adam Carolla's just saying, stepping away from all that junk, and maybe this is a chance for something to happen there.
It's the exact same way that indie music started to become a much more successful venue, where enough people got very honestly pissed off about it that they just completely refused the idea of signing a large record label.
Exactly. It's the time for independence, ladies and gentlemen. And it's also time for the end of the show. So let's wrap it up here. Again, Chachi, you're over at
InsertCoinToBegin.com.
You got a podcast called
InsertCoinToBegin.com presents Let's Play.
And that's going to be recorded
right after this one.
That's at 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time, more or less, right here on live.sorgatronmedia.com, right?
Correct. Yes.
Helping you out.
All that information.
All that stuff? Is that all accurate? Excellent.
Yes,
Excellent.
that sounds about correct.
Rob De La Creta.
Hey, when the first Blue Collar Comedy Tour show went, would you know what town the first Blue Collar Comedy show was in?
What's that?
Omaha, Nebraska.
Never mind. They're never going to get it. They're never going to get it then.
Oh man! And it's the last show was in 2006.
Well, what was the? They had that was a different tour that just came to Pittsburgh, right?
Yeah.
Well, they have a DVD on Netflix on streaming actually. That's from Console Energy Center.
The DVD was from 2003, actually.
No, this is from last year.
The one that's on Netflix is from 2011, and it's not Blue Collar because that's four guys.
Yeah, it's something new, right?
Yeah.
Because there was the Blue Collar Comedy Tour, the movie, which was 2003.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyways,
yeah.
So
plug something.
Nebraska. What am I doing? There's a chance. There's a lot of chances up in the air, but the one that I'll vaguely mention because it's really funny. I might end up going to the Blog Her conference.
Blog Her?
Yeah, Blog Her. The mommy bloggers.
Are you going to be a mommy blogger?
I'm not going to be a mommy blogger, but I might be putting some ridiculous technology together for mommy bloggers, which is all just very funny to me.
Awesome.
Yeah. Other than that, making inappropriate gestures on the internet. Follow me on Twitter so I can touch you inappropriately.
Yeah.
Whoa, hey, yeah, at RobJDLC on Twitter, of course. I'm at Sorgatron on the Twitters. You can check out my blog, sorgatron.com. Check out all the rest of our content over at sorgatronmedia.com. Unsung, Let's Play, Wrestling Mayhem Show, and anything else, all the DVD releases we got for all you wrestling fans out there. Again, we're here live every Tuesday, 7 p.m. Eastern Time at live.sorgatronmedia.com. Follow us on Twitter at AwesomeCast. Drop us an email, contact@awesomecast.com. Like us on Facebook. Circle us on Google Plus. I'm still can't get used to that. Drop in our hangout. We got that if we got you in the circle. And
I'm going to take this quick opportunity to tell you that if you're not on Twitter, just get on Twitter.
Just get on Twitter?
Yeah.
Just what are you waiting for?
Right.
Exactly. There's nothing holding you back. It's easy. It's 140 characters, no pressure. It's probably the simplest thing you can do, and you don't have to worry about them changing your email address every week. So thanks a lot. Thanks to our awesome chat room. You guys have been... Oh, they're coming for you, Rob. Holy hell.
All right, we have to go. The cops are on their way.
Thank you to our awesome chat room.
Rob.
You've been our awesome audience. Have an awesome week.
We're getting awesome, yeah, that's what I said now. I'm getting awesome, you're getting awesome. We're getting awesome, yeah, that's what I said now. I'm getting awesome, you're getting awesome. We're getting awesome, yeah, that's what I
Oh, man.
Where are you at? Hey, sorry, I turned you down there because he was going nuts.
Sorry. Yeah, it was like I could hear the sirens and I realized I couldn't hear what you were saying. I'm like, oh, I bet that broke everything.
It got bad. It got really bad here.